And welcome back to Iron Sports. 15 years as the president of the International Netball Federation, Jamaica's Molly Rhone continues her sojourn to improve the game globally. The only Jamaican to have ever led an international sporting body joins us for this edition of Iron Sports to discuss all things netball. The Honourable Molly Rhone, welcome to Iron Sports.
Thank you.
Well, I should say welcome back.
Thank you for having me.
It's always good to have you here. First up, we just had the conclusion of the Sunshine Girls England Roses 3-test series. Your reaction to the series and how you saw it.
Congratulations to Netball Jamaica. I think it was a great win for them. I would have liked to have seen more of the England's top players. I can think of 3 of their top players who weren't here, but it matters not. You know, what you put out is what you play. So great for Jamaica. It will do them well for the ranking. And I'm not saying it will change anything, but they will get points. So and I think this all goes well for them going into Fast 5 in 2 weeks' time, and also in preparation for the World Championship next year.
And I know when you watched the series, it wouldn't have been just watching the Sunshine Girls, but of course the England Roses too, and the quality of netball that was on display, because you want that good advert for the sport. Was it that for you as you watched? Was it a good advert for the sport? Well, was it quality netball? Let
me say, I watched it. I was in the arena.
Right.
Right. But netball is such a great game. You know, you see the best of athleticism in the women. You know, they're usually fit, and it's just a great sport to watch. I don't know that either team was probably playing at their very best, because I think they were feeling out what was happening, and they're really looking forward to World Championship next year, I would think, rather than this series.
Yeah, the Fast 5 comes up. This will be the 9th year.
The 9th year.
9th year, 3rd straight year in Australia.
In Australia.
How ready?
Is Australia?
Yeah, at this juncture.
Very ready. I mean, very ready. My office, we're very pleased with what we see coming out of Australia. But they're like that. They're sports people. They're accustomed to doing this over and over. But it's just that their manuals and like what they send out to the teams, it's so detailed. You know, the handbook, and it's anything you want to know about the country or about the championship will be in that handbook. I've looked at a few of them myself, and I've said to my office that other countries could actually use them to when they're planned, because it has just everything that you would want to know about a championship is in those manuals. All
right, so 3 years in England, that is where it started.
Yes.
Then 3 years in New Zealand,
yes.
3 years in Australia now.
3 years in Australia.
Where do we go next?
Well, none next year.
Right.
And our next board meeting is December 1st and 2nd, and that's on our agenda, because, as I said, we don't have it next year because it's a World Championship year, and that's a decision we took, that we wouldn't have it in a World Championship year. What we don't know is where it goes next and whether the model can survive. You know, I'm very conscious of the fact that netballers really have to bear the brunt of going to championships, because what they pay for all their preparations for getting there, for their accommodation, the host pays for the local transportation. But apart from that, they have to pay for everything. And what they get is a percentage of the surplus at the end is divided up between the INF, the host, and the participants. But in a lot of cases, it's probably what they get cannot pay for what it costs them to get there. So I'm very conscious of that. So when we started Fast 5, we decided that the model had to be changed. And so the host pays for everything. So that now is a really huge expense on the host, because they're paying, we don't know what top 6, where they will be coming from, you know. So, and it's strange that the top 6 has only changed once. One, we had Samoa in there instead of Fiji, I think it was. And they have to pay for the accommodation, the transportation, the meals, and everything, and it's a burden. And so our 3 richest countries have hosted it, and so it's now up for grabs. And we have to think, how can we change the model to make it a shared model rather than the host having to, you know, pay all the brunt.
In terms of getting the necessary funding, How difficult is that? Because even though it's Australia or New Zealand or England, they have to go hunting for funding too.
Yeah, but they get really great government funding. I mean, I mean, we do that. We get that in Jamaica too, I must say. Our netball has been funded a lot by the government. But it's such a big sport in those countries. In New Zealand, for instance, it vies with the All Blacks. So when they're ranked on TV, it's either first or second, depending what's happening there. Australia, it's a major sport. I think in Australia, it's the largest participating sport is netball in Australia. Wow. I mean, they have over 1 million girls playing the sport. And
speaking of the growth of the sport globally, there's still a gap in respect to the top 4 teams and then the rest.
Yes, we have.
You're concerned about that.
A gap, but not like it was. I think when I went there, the people, and I'm talking qualitatively now, because quantitatively we have just jumped. You know, so we've moved from maybe about 30 members or less, I'm sure, when I went there, paid up members, real active members. So now we have about 79 members. Some, of course, are growing into the sport and so on. But from a qualitative standpoint, it's no longer the top 2. It's no longer the top 4, because there's Uganda that has come from nowhere. That is number 7.
And improving massively.
Massively. As a matter of fact, in a couple of weeks, I think, while we're down at Fast 5, I think England, or a little after, England is going to be hosting Uganda. Now, years ago, you would never hear that. You would never hear of them hosting Malawi. And yes, they would have done South Africa, because South Africa at one time was number 1. They're now number 5. But no, and Zambia, I mean, Malawi is being beaten by Zambia and Kenya.
So you're saying overall you're pleased with how teams have been catching up with that top 4?
Right. Actually, when the top four now take the court, you can't bet. You don't know who's going to win, because we just had New Zealand beating Australia in their series that's going on now.
And even the last Fast 5, the Sunshine Girls, they beat New Zealand there.
For sure, with their super shooter.
Yeah.
Right.
Let me take you back a bit, back to 2015, where you had outlined 3 major strategies on the way forward then. The governance of the sport, having more member countries, and grassroots focus. When you look at those 3 areas, what is your summary of those strategies that put forward?
My summary is that we've done well. I think we're a well-governed sport. I have my...
She brought the book, not to throw it at us, but she...
That's it. This book, I mean, that's our book of rules. We have our articles, our regulations, all of our policies, all of our terms of reference, anything you want. Anybody can take this up. It's on our website. We have it for all our board members, so whoever's taking over from me doesn't have to start from scratch. You know, we really follow our rules. I think we really are seen as a well-governed sport.
All right. Speaking of taking over from you, we're going to be getting to that as well. But let me bring you back here to the Caribbean now and the governance of the sport. And in respect to, you know, the Sunshine Girls being leaders, but Trinidad still there, Barbados. And, you know, how do you feel about the sport itself here in this particular region where we play exciting netball and the sport globally needs Caribbean netball?
I must be honest to say that I'm a bit disappointed, and more so in the governance than the play, right? Although one affects the other. And I would have to take a little of the blame as well. It's a very difficult region to run, because I was the president of the Americas for a while. For quite a while, actually, until Pat Butcher from Trinidad took over, and now it's Marvel. But that's a difficulty every time I went to a meeting. We would show them whatever Jamaica is doing. And no, it's not just Jamaica, but everybody has access to the INF website, where you can get any information you want as a whole. And in addition to which, when we have events like Fast 5 or a World Championship, we have workshops where we go into the whole governance and, you know, financial. We really have training workshops, which we encourage them to come to. But when I travel through the region and I realize the governance is poor, there's no administration. It's hard. I don't know where they get their funding. But if you don't have a strong administration, you can't have strong play.
Well, we could see a shift in that. Marva Bernard, president of the Americas region.
Yes.
Your own expectations of her as we head into this break?
Well, development of the sport in the region, that's what she's there for. I mean, I was there too.
Right.
So I headed it for a very long time. I can't say that I was as successful in the region, if I really must, as I am at the International Federation, because it's really difficult. Right. Like I say, they have to find a way. I mean, we don't have a development manager in the region, that's the INF, but they have to find a way to at least be able to have regular meetings, to have at least one person. That's another thing. We have countries that have not even one employed person.
Wow.
So that's really difficult.
So you're saying it will be a challenge for
in the region, I
Ms.
think Jamaica
Bernard.
and probably Trinidad. Yes, it's going to be, she knows it's going to be a challenge for her. It is a challenge.
All right. Tell you what, we're challenged for time right now. So we're talking all things netball. So we're going to go to a break and come back with lots more right here on court with the Honorable Molly Rhone. Soon come.